Over, and I looked into this beef. I was really trying to figure out the Yo Gotti, Young Dolph beef. Supposedly.
Right.
Some people say it was over a girl. Some people say Gotti wanted to sign Dolph and Dolph didn't want to sign.
Right.
Some people say, well, both of them had crews that were into some street shit or whatever. All this sounds very unnecessary for it to turn to murder and life sentence.
Odie, come on now. We don't work too hard for this shit, man. We get back on. Hey, Alabama, we on the way, man. We're on the way, Alabama, right now.
Yo Gotti made it hot over there. That's what I said. Bro, listen, Dallas, Texas, you can do all rapping by killing it and everything and doing that. When you selling that dope, the feds coming. It's been the history of Dallas. The feds coming when you start talking about that type. As soon as they brought Gotti over there with all that money, them rappers, they watching them rappers. I think they round up everybody trying to get something to pin on them rappers. They coming. And they seizing money. I hope nobody had no money stuck in them spots.
It's back in Marion, John Gotti's day. We had homies, they putting in a ticket. Everybody yelling through the bars because everybody's locked in the cells. You know, when someone's talking, you respect the person on the microphone is what we call it. So dude was putting a ticket, John Gotti's ticket, team getting ready to play for his first ticket. So he trying to hurry up and get his bet in before the game starts. Somebody else was already giving their bet. So John Gotti said, man, you hear me talking? Dude said, nah, I'm talking. John Gotti like, man, I don't care who talking. I'm John Gotti, take my bet. So the Muslim dude told John Gotti, yo, just wait your turn. You hear them talking? Speaking up, John Gotti's like, I don't care what you say, monkey. Of course, now it's going to be on. So the doors open. John Gotti got the ABs around him when he come out. They had John Gotti in the middle. So dude whooped him, but John Gotti fought back as a man. When the joint was over, John Gotti shook his hand and said, man, you got that, but I'm letting you know now, we're going to have to fight every day.
Did you buy a tour bus for yourself early on?
That was one of the worst mistakes I did, though.
Why?
I went on tour with G-Eazy, me, G-Eazy, and YG. I got the quote on the bus, how much it cost to rent it for the tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, I'm just gonna buy it. Trying to be
Right,
a
that's
hustler, knowing numbers.
business-minded.
And the bus broke down first show. You know what I'm saying? On the way to the first show, bus broke down. Got it fixed. Third or fourth show, it broke down again.
Oh.
I was gonna rent it for like 90-something thousand. I'm thinking, I'm calling them a 400, 450.
Yeah! Yeah! What up, man? Oh, so Gotti, what up? What's up, man? Yeah! Rich Chinese, bro.
Right now, behind the scenes, federal investigators are rumored to be building one of the biggest cases Memphis hip-hop has ever seen. On the surface, everything looks normal. Yo Gotti is still performing, still posting, still running his label, but in courtrooms and task force offices, a very different story is being pieced together. One centered around power, street connections, and the name that won't stop coming up in the Young Dolph case. The question people keep whispering is simple. Is this just rap beef history, or is something much bigger moving in the background? Mario Mims came up in Memphis long before the fame, long before the chains and private jets. The neighborhood shaped everything. In the late 80s and 90s, Memphis streets weren't forgiving. Music became his way out, but the environment never really left him behind. By the time he started gaining attention locally, people weren't just listening to the songs. They were listening to how real the stories sounded. The early records felt like street journals set to beats. That's what made them travel. And that's also what made law enforcement take notice early. According to long-standing rumors in the city, his connections didn't fully disappear once the music started paying. The streets and the studio kept running side by side. That combination built his image fast. But it also planted the seeds for long-term attention from investigators who were already watching patterns form. And once the money came in, the power conversation started right along with it. Memphis already had rulers before Yo Gotti ever stepped on the throne. 36. Mafia had platinum plaques. They had city respect. They even brought an Oscar back to Memphis. To many locals, that sealed their place in history. When Gotti began calling himself the King of Memphis, that title wasn't taken lightly. In Memphis, that label isn't about streams alone. It's about influence, respect, and what people believe you can really do behind the scenes. Tension built quietly at first, then it surfaced. Music shots turned sharper. Interviews took a different tone. Fans took sides. The crown became more than marketing. It became personal. But the real shift came when another artist proved that you could lead Memphis without bowing to anyone. Young Dolph didn't need a major label to win. Paper Route Empire moved without industry permission, and the money followed anyway. That independence made him different. It also made him dangerous in the eyes of anyone who believed all roads had to run through one gate. In 2014, Dolph was asked publicly why he never signed with CMG. His answer was clear: he didn't need it. That moment landed harder than people expected. According to industry talk, that answer didn't sit well. Then Dolph announced his album would be called King of Memphis. That move hit straight at the title Gotti had been protecting for years. From that point, the energy shifted from business competition to something far more emotional. Tweets flew. Subtle messages wasn't subtle anymore. The city felt the temperature rise. And then came the moment that pushed everything past the edge. Black Youngsta took the conflict from music to movement. Videos surfaced with threats aimed directly at Dolph. Then came the clip that shook Memphis. Youngsta and his crew were seen riding through Dolph's neighborhood, openly calling him out. Dolph responded online with heavy accusations. He claimed people were trying to get him caught up instead of handling things man to man. The internet exploded. Fans connected dots. The label connection made the moment feel bigger than one artist acting wild. According to federal sources quoted in later reports, this period was when surveillance allegedly increased. Not because of lyrics, because of behavior that went far beyond music. And not long after, the first major attempt on Dolph's life followed. In February 2017, Dolph's SUV was sprayed with over 100 rounds in Charlotte during a major basketball weekend. Broad daylight, crowded area. The message was loud. 3 men were arrested not long after, including Black Youngsta. All charges were later dropped for lack of evidence. The internet never forgot that part. Months later, it happened again. Outside a hotel in Hollywood, Dolph was attacked after an altercation in the valet area. He was hit multiple times but survived after emergency surgery. Witnesses placed both camps at the same hotel. One associate tied to Gotti was detained and released. 2 attempts, 2 survival stories, 2 sets of unanswered questions. According to sources close to the case, this was when federal interest grew sharper. Investigators allegedly began studying communication patterns, transportation, finances, and motions between camps. The third time would not end the same way. November 2021. Young Dolph pulled up to his regular spot at Makita's Cookies, a place tied to his daily routine. In broad daylight, masked shooters ambushed him and fired multiple rounds before speeding away. Memphis froze. Surveillance footage spread across the internet. Thousands gathered at memorials. The city lost one of its most visible figures in an instant. Arrests followed. Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith were charged. Later, Hernandez Govan was named by prosecutors as the alleged organizer behind the scene. During court proceedings, prosecutors claimed that financial assistance tied to CMG had helped cover legal defense for the suspects. That claim alone sent shockwaves through the hip-hop world. That single detail shifted public conversation in a serious direction. And once Dolph was laid to rest, the streets didn't go quiet. After Dolph's passing, people connected to the situation began turning up dead across Memphis. Some had only loose ties. Some were rumored to have inside knowledge. Each loss fueled more fear. The name that kept surfacing was Big Jook, Gotti's older brother. Long rumored to be the street backbone behind CMG, his presence had always carried weight. In January 2024, after attending a funeral service with heavy security, Big Jook was shot and killed at a repast gathering. The city erupted again. Some people called it revenge. Others warned that the cycle was now fully out of control. Another family was shattered. Another wave of fear swept through Memphis. From a federal standpoint, the pattern only added more weight to the growing investigation. Under federal law, RICO charges allow prosecutors to target entire organizations if they believe crimes were committed as part of a connected pattern. Investigators don't need every member to pull a trigger. They only need to show structure, leadership, and repetition. According to multiple reports and legal analysts, authorities are allegedly examining years of financial transfers, communication records, travel patterns, street affiliations, witness cooperation. Yo Gotti has never been formally charged. He has consistently maintained his innocence. His legal team argues that he's being targeted because of his success and the environment he came from, not because of solid proof. Recent travel rumors sparked speculation about whether he was avoiding possible charges, though no warrant has been announced publicly. If a RICO case is ever filed, assets tied to the investigation could be frozen. That includes homes, vehicles, businesses, and label holdings. That alone makes these investigations high pressure before any courtroom verdict is ever delivered. And this is where the story truly hangs in limbo. This story isn't really about a label versus another label. It's about what happens when competition turns personal, and personal turns into permanent loss. Young Dolph left behind children who will grow up without their father. Big Jook left behind family that never gets closure. Memphis keeps carrying the emotional weight. Whether charges ever come or not, the damage is already real. Hip-hop reflects the streets, but sometimes the streets start reflecting hip-hop right back in ways nobody can control. The next chapter of this story won't be written in lyrics. It will be written in courtrooms, affidavits, and legal decisions. And until that moment arrives, one question stays unanswered. Will this end with justice, or with more names added to the same list? No matter how this case unfolds, one thing is already clear. The story of Yo Gotti, Young Dolph, CMG, and Memphis has changed hip-hop forever. What started as music, pride, and competition turned into something much darker, with real consequences that can't be undone. Families were broken, a city was shaken, and the line between rap and real life became impossible to ignore. Right now, the public only sees the surface: performances, posts, business moves, but behind the scenes, court documents, witnesses, and investigations may still be shaping what comes next. Whether this ends in charges, silence, or another shocking twist, history is still being written. And when that next update drops, it won't just affect one artist, it will shake the entire culture. If you want to stay ahead of this story as it develops, make sure you're tapped in right here. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and don't miss what happens next. We break these stories down with context, facts, and real depth, not internet rumors. Drop a comment with your thoughts on this case. Was this all avoidable, or was this outcome locked in from the start? Either way, this story is far from over.